Hi guys, this is Lori at Lori Art Creations. In this video, I'm going to be bringing you a Dollar Tree DIY for a farmhouse lattice wall decoration that I got the inspiration for at one of my craft stores in the area. So to make this faux wood wall decoration, you're going to need a pencil, some scissors, either a metal or hard plastic ruler, glue gun and some glue sticks, a couple of paintbrushes, an X-Acto knife or razor knife, and guys, make sure that your X-Acto knife and razor knife have good sharp blades in them, brand new if possible, because older blades could tend to not cut smoothly through the foam board. A 6x6 piece of white poster board. Also going to need some tacky glue and acrylic paint in your choice of color. You're going to also need a permanent marker. I used a dual tip black color one, and it was nice because the more fine pointed end did great for my little branch and left it nice, feeling nice and airy, whereas the thicker end was great for filling in my monogram. And most importantly, we're going to need a piece of foam core board from the Dollar Tree. Or actually, you can get it from anywhere else, but I got mine at the Dollar Tree. All right, let's get going. First up, you're going to measure and draw two 12 by 12 inch squares on the foam board. Then measure in 1.5 inches inside the outer squares to make another square as shown below. Using a razor knife or X-Acto knife, you're going to cut the main squares out and then cut the centers out of both of those squares. These are going to be your frames. Using the piece of foam board that you just cut from the center of those squares, you're going to mark them diagonally every 1 inch from corner to corner. These will be your lattice pieces. So then you're going to cut your lattice pieces, and what helped me was I used my metal ruler and laid my razor knife right up along the edge of the ruler and pressing firmly down through my foam board and drawing the razor knife down along that ruler gave me a really nice straight line. One tip I do want to give to you guys is try to find a scrap piece of foam board to stick underneath of what you're cutting so that you can feel confident about pushing through and getting all through the layers of the foam board that you need to cut without scratching the top of the table. Now, one of these frames we're going to take and mark from the outside edge all the way around 1/4 inch. We're going to trim that 1/4 inch from the outside all off with a razor knife and ruler. Measure and cut 4 1¼ inches by 12 inch pieces. Those are going to be your side pieces. Cut 2 1 inch pieces that are long enough to go from corner to corner. I marked the tips of mine so I could line them up with the frame's edges. The reason that you're doing this is the middle piece that you take out of your square isn't long enough to run that whole center diagonal, so you're going to need 2 longer pieces to do that. You're going to go one way and then you're going to go in the other direction. Now lay your frame out and then start layering your first layer of lattice pieces down. As you lay them down, trim them. I spaced them out. I used a spare piece of the lattice and put it in between these lattices to make sure that I was spacing them out correctly. So it was just like one of the 1 inch pieces of lattice in between. So it should be 1 inch in between each one of these. Then you're going to do the same for the ones going in the opposite direction and trim them off as you lay them out. Using your paintbrush, you're going to paint all the pieces front and back using long sweeping strokes on the flat parts of your pieces. That helps to give you that faux wood look. Also a little bit of that farmhouse see-through color. Be sure too to paint the inside and outside cut edges of your pieces. So actually what you're doing is you're painting all of your piece, the front, the back, inside and outside edges. That's because a lot of these pieces are going to be showing for the lattice work. It's not one solid piece, it's going to be multiple pieces, and you don't want anything that's not going to look nice or fit in with your design. So make sure you paint all of your pieces front and back. Oh, it's also important to do all of your painting before you assemble your lattice wall piece, because once your piece is assembled, there'll be crevices that you won't be able to get to with a paintbrush. So it's just better before you assemble your piece to paint everything. Arrange your lattice pieces again as you did previously over your frame and begin to glue them down. I used a paintbrush, excuse me, I used a paintbrush to apply my tacky glue to the pieces, and then I let the glue dry. This glue dries pretty quickly. Your lattice piece should now look like this. Flip your piece over to the back side and using your razor knife or your X-Acto knife, trim those lattice pieces back, leaving 1/4 of an inch all the way around the edges. This is so that your side pieces, when we set them in there, will sit flush against the edges of the front frame or up on top of the front frame there. So once you've done that, then take your side pieces and using your glue gun, go down along your front piece and lay a bead of glue and then set your side edge in there. And what I did was I matched whatever I did on one side, I did on the other as far as going all the way to the edge with it. You're going to want to make a box basically as your side pieces. Remember that second frame that we trimmed 1/4 of an inch off all the edges on earlier? Well, this piece is going to go inside the back and will fit snugly between the side walls. That's why we took off that 1/4 of an inch. Basically, what that does is it adds some support and helps to secure all your pieces together. So just add a couple of dabs of hot glue to all the corners and slip it right into place. Now we're going to make the centerpiece. You're going to measure out 4 pieces of foam board that are 1.5 inches wide by about 5.5 inches long. I added that little extra 1/2 inch to give you allowance for cutting your angles, but by the time it's all said and done, your pieces should measure after they're cut 5 inches long. So make sure you cut your angles for your corners and then lay them together to make sure they match up. Using your glue gun, you can attach all the corner pieces together to create the second smaller frame. Now, I know some people don't like to use a glue gun with their foam board, but I can tell you on some things it really helps to have, and it doesn't really, as long as you're not laying your gun onto the foam board itself, it won't melt the foam board. But if you're just using a small dab of glue, it's okay to do that. It actually helps to make things go a lot faster. Using the small frame then, we're going to trace its shape onto the white poster board and then we're going to cut it out. Once you cut it out, trim the edges down so that they don't stick out from the back of your little frame. You don't want the white edge to be seen. And then paint the top, inside, and outside edges of your smaller frame. You don't have to paint the back of the smaller frame because no one's going to see that. That's going to get glued to the front of your lattice piece. So then I printed out a Farmhouse branch and the letter R from my computer. I went on Google and searched for free downloadable Farmhouse designs, templates and such. You can do that. And then for the monogram, I just found some lettering that I liked and printed out my letter. Now we're going to center that in the middle of your white cardboard frame. Figure out your placement. So then next we're going to flip over the designs. Because I don't have a Cricut machine, this is my way of transferring designs onto my paper or wood or whatever I'm painting. So what I do is I flip it over, I rub the back of it with the graphite from a pencil, and then center them right side up on the white poster board. Then I take a pencil and I trace it to transfer the design onto the paper. Easy peasy, does a great job. And if I mess up, I can always just use an eraser to fix it. So then I take my black permanent marker and outline my design and fill in my monogram. This marker that I have I love because it made the branch just feel light and airy, did exactly what I needed it to do, yet the other end of it was able to fill in my monogram completely. So then I used a glue gun to attach the frame to the poster board. Then I added some glue to the smaller frame and glued it to the center of the larger one. In the picture on the left-hand side, you'll see what it looks like from the side. I tried to trim back that white poster board so that you couldn't see it when you laid the smaller frame flat on the larger frame. I just didn't want any white peeking out from under it. But you could also take a little bit of your paint and go over the edges of your poster board if you need to. And this is how your finished wall decoration should look. Now for the hanger on the back of most of my foam core board home decorations, I just use knotted twine because these foam core board decorations are just so light and it doesn't take much to hang them. I like the twine because it's adjustable. I can tie it in another knot if I have to. And then to hang it on the wall, I just use a thumbtack or a pin. I don't even need to use a nail to hang this because there's hardly any weight to it. So what I did was I knotted the twine in a couple of places and glued it to the back of the frame. Then I covered the twine with just a small piece of the poster board. I do that to help add support and to, finish off that decoration. Then I trim off the two ends on the bottom of the twine so it's not sticking out from and able to be seen from the front. And that's all there was to it. I was done with this project. Here's your finished piece. And I'm telling you, I am so happy with this. I love doing these hacks. I love going into these stores and shops and even craft bazaars and trying to figure out a way to do something even less expensive than what they're trying to charge. So I really love this piece and I can't wait to use it in my home. I hope you guys like it too. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate your support tremendously, and I'm having so much fun doing these hacks. And as you know, I really strive to bring you something that doesn't look cheap, is cheap to make, but doesn't look cheap. I strive really hard to make it look like something I would you could hang in a modern, expensive home. So if you guys want to, you can follow me on Instagram at L'Oreal Creations. Thank you again for watching and have a great day.